Good morning everyone. In this video, we are going to cover the current affairs. For mobile optimized ebooks, please install GKToday Academy app. For regular updates, please join our Telegram channel. The link is given in the description box. Now we have started a new channel, Civils Academy. You can subscribe to it if you find it relevant. Now let's start. The permanent campus of IIT Ropar was inaugurated. The question is, it is in which state of India? So it is in Punjab. And recently, Union Education Minister Ramesh Nishank inaugurated the permanent campus of IIT Ropar. Now recently, Punjab was in news because Supreme Court appointed a committee, and this committee is one-man committee and it is by Justice Madan B. Lokur. So why this committee was constituted? This committee was constituted to suggest the steps to prevent stubble burning in the states of Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. Punjab was also in news because of iRakhwali app. So this is application by Punjab to ensure greenery and to protect environment in the state of Punjab. Next question is, Parinam Manjusa is a digital academic repository of which institution? So it is a repository of CBSE, that is Central Board of Secondary Education. So with the help of this digital academic repository, you can store your digital academic records or digital academic documents. Now, recently CBSE was also in news as it partnered with Facebook to provide training courses on digital safety. Recently, Facebook was in news because it has decided to partner with Ray-Ban to develop new smart glasses. Facebook was also in news because of its investment in Jio. Next question is, where is the second regional raw drug repository of National Medicinal Plants Board inaugurated? So, the second regional raw drug repository is in New Delhi, and it is the second such institution by NMPB. What is NMPB? It is National Medicinal Plants Board and it is under Ayush Ministry. Now, as per the proposal, total 8 such RRDR will be set up. RRDR stands for Regional Raw Drug Repository, and this is second one which is situated in New Delhi. Answer in comment box, where is the first such Regional Raw Drug Repository? Next question is, who represented India in the first ever ministerial meeting of G20 Anti-Corruption Working Group? So, Dr. Jitendra Singh represented India in this G20 Anti-Corruption Working Group. G20 grouping was also in news as Saudi Arabia is the head of G20 for this year. Next year, Italy is going to be the head, and in 2022, India will be the head of this grouping. Now, if we talk about corruption, recently, Transparency International released a report and it is Exporting Corruption. So, this Exporting Corruption is the title of this report. Transparency International is a non-governmental organization. It is Berlin-based organization. Berlin is in Germany. Recently, Saudi Arabia was also in news because it became the first Arab nation to be the full-fledged member of FATF, that is Financial Action Task Force. Recently, FATF was in news because it decided to keep Pakistan in the grey list. Pakistan was in news because previously it had banned TikTok, but recently this ban was revoked. Pakistan was also in news as Pakistan fast bowler Umar Gul recently announced his retirement. Next question is, the European Union's Sakharov Prize 2020 has been awarded to the opposition movement of which country? So, this Human Rights Prize was awarded to opposition in Belarus. Belarus is a European country and the president of Belarus is Alexander Lukashenko. And recently, the country was in news because of the widespread protest against the government. In fact, because of the crackdown on protesters, European Union also imposed sanctions on the officials of government who were involved in the crackdown. Actually, Alexander Lukashenko is accused of rigging the elections, and that is why people are protesting and people are demanding a fair election. So, the opposition movement of Belarus has been selected for this European Union's Sakharov Prize. The capital of Belarus is Minsk. Now, answer in comment box, who is the opposition leader in Belarus? Next question is, Saad al-Hariri has been named as the new Prime Minister of which country? So he has been named as the new Prime Minister of Lebanon. Recently, Lebanon was also in news because of Bisri Dam, as World Bank has cancelled the financial support for this project in Lebanon. Lebanon was also in news because of the blast in Beirut. Beirut is the capital of Lebanon. Apart from that, Lebanon was also in news because of UNSC resolution. UNSC stands for United Nations Security Council. So, this resolution was drafted by France and UNSC approved this. This resolution seeks to cut the peacekeeping forces, that means to reduce the peacekeeping forces in Lebanon. Next question is, what is the minimum net owned fund, that is NOF size, for housing finance companies as per the recent notification by RBI? So, it is 25 crore rupees. Recently, it was in news because RBI has fixed the minimum NOF size for housing finance companies, and HFC, that is housing finance companies that have the NOF size less than 25 crore will be required to achieve this target. So by March 31st of 2022, they will have to achieve the target of 15 crore NOF, that is net owned fund, and by March 31st of 2023, they will have to achieve the target of 25 crore NOF, that is net owned fund. So this is for housing finance companies. Now, recently RBI was also in news because of TLTRO, it was also in news because of PIDF, and it was also in news because of Operation Twist. TLTRO stands for Targeted Long-Term Repo Operations, PIDF stands for Payment Infrastructure Development Fund, and Operation Twist is also related to RBI. Next question is, what is the name of vaccine candidate that is being developed by Bharat Biotech? So it is Covaxin, and recently this vaccine has been cleared for the third phase of clinical trials, and this vaccine has been developed by Bharat Biotech in collaboration with ICMR, that is Indian Council of Medical Research, and recently the approval for third phase of trial was given by DCGI. DCGI stands for Drug Controller General of India. So this is under MOH and FW, that is Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. The headquarters of ICMR is in New Delhi. The headquarters of Bharat Biotech is in Hyderabad. Now this DCGI, that is Drugs Controller General of India, is a department of CDSCO. What is CDSCO? It is Central Drug Standards Control Organization, and the CDSCO is under Health Ministry. Next question is, the Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail has proposed to raise 1500 crores from which company? Right answer is Flipkart. So recently, Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail Limited has proposed to raise the sum of 1500 crores from Flipkart Group, and with this capital infusion, Flipkart Group will own 7.8% equity stakes in this Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail. Recently, Flipkart was also in news because it has signed Memorandum of Understanding with Uttar Pradesh government for collaboration under One District, One Product initiative. Flipkart was also in news because it has recently collaborated with Bajaj Allianz to offer digital Suraksha insurance. Recently, Bajaj Allianz was in news as it has appointed Bollywood actor Ayushmann Khurrana as the brand ambassador. Next question is, recently Indian Navy conducted a test launch of an anti-ship missile from which vessel? So this has been done from INS Prabal, and INS Prabal was in news because Indian Navy has made a test launch of ASHM, that is anti-ship missile, from INS Prabal. So this missile can destroy the ship. Now recently Indian Navy was also in news because INS Kavrati was recently inducted in Indian Navy. Next question is, which pharma organization has partnered with Merck KGaA and IAVI for the development of SARS-CoV-2 neutralizing monoclonal antibodies? So this is SII, that is Serum Institute of India. This SII is in Pune. Pune is in Maharashtra. This Merck Group is a German company. Now recently, Maharashtra was also in news as Maharashtra government withdrew its general consent to CBI, that is Central Bureau of Investigation, and therefore Maharashtra became the third state after West Bengal and Rajasthan to do so. CBI is Central Bureau of Investigation, and CBI represents India in Interpol. Interpol is International Police. Headquarters is in Lyon in France. And India will host the Interpol conference in 2022. Next question is, which city has broken the record for world's largest fountain? So this is Dubai. And Dubai is the biggest city of UAE. The capital of UAE is Abu Dhabi. So the Palm Fountain in Dubai has broken the record for the world's largest fountain. Dubai is also known for world's tallest building and world's fastest police car in service. Now UAE was also in news because of ongoing IPL tournament. UAE was also in news because of Abraham Accord with Israel. Recently Israel was in news because it has decided to set up a separate water attaché in India. That means Embassy of Israel will have a separate water attaché in India. What does that mean? It means both countries are going to have a separate platform for the collaboration in the field of water. Next question is, Britain has signed its first bilateral trade agreement with which country after Brexit? So this country is Japan. Now, what is the meaning of this term Brexit? It means exit of Britain from European Union, and the date of exit was 31st of January 2020. Now, Britain has signed its first bilateral trade agreement with Japan after this event. Recently, Japan was in news because of Quad. Quad is a security dialogue between 4 countries: India, USA, Japan and Australia. So these 4 countries are the part of Quad. Recently, the meeting of Quad held in Tokyo in Japan. And these 4 countries were also in news because of Malabar exercise. So Malabar is a naval exercise. In 1992, it was started as a bilateral exercise between India and USA. Later, in 2015, Japan became the 3rd participant, and this time Australia is going to be the part of this exercise. So this time all 4 Quad countries are going to take part in this Malabar exercise. This is a naval exercise. So these were the most important questions. Now we are going to cover important news. So first is Yensect. Yensect is a France-based company, and this company was in news because it is going to build world's biggest bug farm. So this is going to build world's biggest indoor bug farm. Next is MA. So this is the film on women empowerment. Recently it was in news because it is a film by Hyderabad Police. Now for women empowerment and women safety, recently Uttar Pradesh also launched Mission Shakti. And as a part of that Mission Shakti, the government has decided to provide glass rooms for women grievances. What does that mean? It means in police stations there will be separate glass chambers where women can register their complaints to the women police officers. Then what is the role of this glass chamber? See, these glass chambers will make sure that the women are comfortable enough to speak in front of women police officers. Next is 75th anniversary of United Nations. So on the occasion of 75th anniversary of United Nations, Department of Post, that is DOP, released postage stamp. Next is Gujarat. So recently Gujarat was in news because of 3 projects. First project is Kisan Suryodaya Yojana. So it is a scheme under which power supply will be provided to the farmers so that they can use irrigation services. That means if you will get the electricity, you will be able to use tube wells and bore wells so that you can continue your irrigation. So under this Kisan Suryodaya Yojana, power supply will be provided for irrigation purpose. Next initiative is biggest cardiac hospital. So India's biggest cardiac hospital was inaugurated in Ahmedabad, and to be specific, it is in UN Mehta Institute. This institute is in Ahmedabad. Third initiative is world's longest temple ropeway project. So this world's longest temple ropeway project is at Girnar, and it is in Junagadh of Gujarat. So these 3 projects were in news. First is Kisan Suryodaya Yojana. It is a scheme under which power supply will be provided for the irrigation purpose. Second is India's biggest cardiac hospital. So it is in UN Mehta Hospital. It is in Ahmedabad. And third is world's biggest temple ropeway project. So it is at Girnar in Junagadh in Gujarat. Next is related to Ramsar sites. So Ramsar sites are related to wetland conservation, and recently 2 Ramsar sites were included in the list, and these 2 sites are Kabartal in Bihar and Asan in Uttarakhand. So now total 39 sites are there from Indian side. See, initially the list was 27, then 10 more added, and now 2 more added. So total 39 sites are mentioned. With this, India have the highest number of wetland sites under Ramsar Convention in South Asia. Next is 20th Amendment. So this amendment is related to Sri Lanka. Recently it was in news because it has been passed by Sri Lanka, and this amendment gave too much powers to President of Sri Lanka. It is important to note that the 90th Amendment of Sri Lanka was passed in 2015, and that put limitations on the powers of President. But this 20th Constitutional Amendment rolled back those changes done by 90th Amendment. Next is Khadi Oaxaca. So it is related to Mexico, and recently it was in news because of Prime Minister's mention in his Mann Ki Baat initiative. In his Mann Ki Baat initiative, Prime Minister made a reference to Mexico's Khadi Oaxaca. Next is Brunel Medal 2020. So a hydroelectric project in Bhutan has won this award, and this is conferred by UK based Institute of Civil Engineers. So the name of this project is Mangdechu. So it is a hydroelectric project in Bhutan, and this is India assisted project. Recently this project was in news because it has been selected for Brunel Medal. Who provide this award? It is given by Institute of Civil Engineers, and it is the top engineering body of UK. And this Mangdechu hydroelectric project is on Mangdechu River. Next is civil liability insurance product. So recently IRDAI, that is Insurance Sector Regulator, has constituted a panel to examine the need for standard civil liability insurance product, and this panel is headed by P. Umesh. Next is BRTS corridor. So BRTS stands for Bus Rapid Transit Corridor. That means on road there is a specific way only for buses. So the idea is to give a boost to the public transport. Recently this term was in news because now Surat in Gujarat have the longest BRTS network, and it is of 108 kilometers. So in our country Surat have the longest BRTS network. Next is Lee Kun-hee. So recently he passed away, and he was the chairperson of Samsung. Samsung is a South Korea based company. Next is Portuguese Grand Prix. So Lewis Hamilton won the Portuguese Grand Prix 2020. Next is BSE ICCI. So Bombay Stock Exchange has signed an agreement with ICCI to provide support to the small and medium enterprises and to provide support to the startups so that they can list themselves on the stock exchange. Next is Fall Again, Rise Again. So this is a book by Sandeep Agrawal. Next is The Ultimate Goal. So this is a book by Vikram Sood. Mr. Sood is a former chief of R&AW, that is Research and Analysis Wing. So it is the external intelligence agency of our country. IB is our internal intelligence agency. IB stands for Intelligence Bureau. Next is Climate Finance Shadow Report 2020. So this is a report by Oxfam. Oxfam is a non-governmental organization. Headquarters is in Nairobi in Kenya. Next is Forbes World's Best Employer 2020. So NTPC, that is National Thermal Power Corporation, is on top of the list of Indian PSU under this World's Best Employer list, and this list is published by Forbes. So these were the most important events. Now homework. So first, please read about Flash Flood Guidance System. Second, please read about National Park and Wildlife Sanctuary. And third is, please read about ESOP, that is Employee Stock Ownership Plan. So that was all for the day. Thank you.